What's up, everybody? My name's Slender, and today we're going to take a deep dive into Amazon Game Studios' New World. New World's been out for about almost 4 months now. It's gone through a lot of changes, especially considering their player base. When this game first came out back in September 28th, it had thousands of players, and that number has just dropped significantly. And some of them for good reason. So what I'm going to go over is the good, the bad, everything in between, and I'm going to cover a lot of the changes that have been made since this game has been released. And there have been quite a few changes. So whether you are a returning player wondering if you should pick it back up again, get back into the game, have some fun, or if you're just thinking about trying it for the first time, I hope this video really helps you. So I'm going to go over as much as I can. I'm going to cover all the big topics. And just to give you guys a little bit of a background, on me, I've been playing MMOs since Dungeon Siege 2, RuneScape. I've played them all. I've loved them all. MMORPGs are my hands down favorite genre of any PC games out there. I stopped playing console games a long time ago. And this game has been a lot of fun, but it does have its problems. So we're about to cover all of that today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the very first thing you're going to be presented with when making a new character is, of course, the character customization. I'm going to be honest, there's not really a lot of options, but we will definitely be covering this in the bad section of the reviews because it's kind of lacking a little bit. So again, we'll discuss that a little bit further. Now let's get into the cash shop. The cash shop in this game is really good. There's absolutely no pay to win. In fact, and this is kind of pertaining to the feedback as well, this game was going to have a kind of like a pay to win, pay to excel cash shop, and enough people bitched about it. Enough people said, no, we do not want this. We're not going to support this. Hell, they might have even gone as far as boycotting the game because of this. But Amazon listened. They took that part of the cash shop out. It's kind of, I think, still in works. Like they might add something a little bit later, but as far as right now, in this state of the game, 3 or 4 months later, the cash shop is great. There's a ton of different skins. There's a ton of different things you can buy. There could be more. I mean, it's not a huge cash shop, but there is plenty to keep you satisfied. They constantly come out with new skins, which is cool. They constantly come out with new things that you can buy for your house, different things like that. So there could be more things in game to buy. I think it would be, pretty nice to see a bigger cash shop, but for as new as it is, the things that they have in there, I've spent probably over $100 just in skins alone. And that's enough to keep me happy. So the cash shop is not pay to win. It is strictly cosmetic. I really, really like that about this cash shop. I hate pay to win stuff. I probably wouldn't even play if this was a pay to win cash shop, and it's not. So as far as the combat for New World, the combat's a lot of fun. It's a really nice break from the traditional tab targeting and action games. But they really took it to the next level with this game. If you're a mage, you can't just lock onto somebody and shoot a fireball and hit them. You actually have to aim, you have to lead. There's physics, there's drop. With the guns, with the arrows, you have to aim higher, you have to lead your target. It's almost like a third-person shooter as far as the combat goes. It is really, really done well. There are a couple issues with like the weapon swapping that they're trying to iron out. But as far as the combat goes, it's a lot of fun. It gets your heart pumping, well, for me anyway. When I'm out there PvPing or trying to do something and I see somebody chasing me, my heart starts beating and I know I'm getting ready for a fight. And it's either you're going to win or you're going to lose, and it's pretty exciting. I started getting sick of the tab targeting, the click and run and all that kind of stuff. So, coming into this game with the different take on combat and the way combat works, it is a lot of fun. The different, melee weapons are pretty impactful. The abilities can look a little better, maybe look a little more visually, stunning, I guess. Some of that is, kind of leaves room for improvement, as far as the flashiness, the effects of the magic and stuff. It's kind of lacking, but as far as overall combat, it's pretty fluid. There are some problems with the desync and things like that we'll get into later, but overall, the combat's a lot of fun. I think they did a good job. Could it be better? Yes, but I think it's one of the better things about this game for sure. Now, I want to talk about something that really leaves an impact on me anyway when starting a new game, a new MMO. This topic I talk about all the time is world bosses, dynamic events. Now, this game so far doesn't have any world bosses, but what it does have, and they tried implementing with the Winter Convergence, festival that they were doing, was these meteor showers. It was the hands down coolest thing I have ever seen in a game and experienced in a game. It was amazing. You're running around during this event at night, and this only happens at night. It is situational. It's a dynamic event. You're just running around questing. It's getting dark, and all of a sudden you hear this crazy sound in the distance, and you look up in the sky. The whole sky lights up, and these meteors just start shooting to the ground, and the sound effects were just crazy. I wish I would have saved the video and the footage of this happening, because you would be blown away. I can't state this enough, how incredible this one little 15-second experience, how much of an impact it had on me as far as the quality and, overall design of the game. It was so cool. If they add more of this stuff to the game, it would make a bunch of people happy. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in a game ever. AGS, if you're listening, let's go. Keep doing these dynamic events. It was a lot of fun. I hate to see it go. I've only experienced a couple of them, and I wish I would have got more. The entire economy in New World is controlled and affected by the players. It's a player-driven economy, which makes it, kind of crazy. So the nice thing about the economy in New World is the fact that when you get wealth, when you accumulate wealth and start getting rich, it feels like you've accomplished something. It feels like you worked your ass off to get 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 gold. It's not one of those games where you just quickly can, amass tons of fortune. You've got to work for it, and you've got to work hard for it. And I think that's a really good idea. There are some issues with the economy, but some of those have been fixed since launch. Another, example of how they do change things and try to kind of make it, a better experience for all of us. But the economy isn't bad. I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be, really hard. It is hard to make money, but it's satisfying. Anybody can do it. You just have to watch the markets. You have to learn. And it is kind of daunting at first, but once you get the hang of it, the sky's the limit. So I want to talk about the developers and the feedback system and, how active the New World developers really are. I've seen maybe a couple other games where they're super active in responding to player feedback, responding to the forums, and New World is no different. These guys have, they are probably going crazy with the amount of feedback that gets submitted, and we want this change, we want that change. But you know what? They actually do listen. They really do. Whether or not they get to things in a timely manner is, a completely different story. But as far as, activity in the forums, customer service, devs, community managers responding to players, they do it all the time. If I go into the forums right now and say, hey, this is a good idea. Have you guys ever thought of implementing this? Somebody's going to respond to me. And it may not be immediately, but it's going to be within the next 24 hours usually. You do get responses from AGS, and they do listen. And there's so many different things that they have changed based on the responses and feedback given by the players. It is really, really nice to know that they're actually watching, actively listening, and it seems like they really do care about the player experience and what's going on and what's causing a bad experience for the players. So as far as feedback goes and customer service response, it's really, really good. It really is. So I want to talk about the overall game design with New World, which is really, really unique. You've got Western civilization or Western culture, you've got Eastern culture, and pretty much everything else in between. It's really, really cool what they did, and a lot of diversity. I also like the fact that you can dye the armor, you can dye your helmet, you can dye your chest, and not just like one solid color, but each different item that you can dye has different sections that you can color. Like if you have a really cool chest, you could change the color of the belt, you could change the color of the accents, and it really, especially for the metal armor, it really makes a big difference in how you look, and I really, really like that. Now, I want to talk about scale. I kind of touched on this before with the graphics, but the scale in this game is super, super immersive and really cool. Like if you're standing next to a giant building, you actually feel like you're standing next to a giant building. You look up and you're just like, wow, this thing goes way up there. Things that you can see in the distance, you can actually run out and touch. You can actually climb up to these big giant towers and all kinds of stuff. It's really cool what they did with the game design. Another thing is the creatures, the mobs, the NPCs. There's a pretty, I mean, yes, there could be more, but so far, it's only been out a few months. I think they did an okay job. You've got your regular animals, you've got your altered or elemental animals, you have different monsters, skeletons, pirates, all kinds of stuff. They are going to be adding more, diversity in the game. I know they are, but for right now, it's good. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. Some of the things are copy and pasted, some of the assets, but that is, I guess, I don't know, to be expected. Who knows? But overall, the game design is pretty solid. I do enjoy it. I do like it. So gathering in New World is another area that shines. They did a really good job with the gathering. There's so many different things that you can get in this game. You can go to a lake, just stand in it and start gathering water, to use for potions, etc., etc. There's a lot of different types of things to gather, from wood, rocks, mines, different materials like iron, star metal, all kinds of stuff. And when you do gather in the game, you feel like a sense of accomplishment when you start leveling up, because you can go all the way from 0 to 200 in any said, gathering profession you decide to do. I did them all right from the get-go. And one of the funny things is, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how hard I focused, and yes, I do have ADD, so it doesn't help one bit, but I would be so focused on getting this mission done, or, going to this elite area and just, Brian, just focus, go get it. Don't do anything else. And you know what? As soon as I seen an iron node or, a big deposit of star metal, I couldn't help myself. And then I would spend like another 30 minutes just out there gathering in a big circle and completely forget about the quest that I was trying to do. It is that much fun. I never really liked gathering in a lot of other games. It was so monotonous, it was so boring. But this one, I don't know if it's the sound, I don't know if it's the effects, or just the satisfaction of having all these different materials and just loading up your storage places. But it really is a lot of fun. It is. You can do logging, you can do fishing, you can do skinning, you can do gathering, which is like, harvesting and WoW, where you get all the plants and stuff. There's just so much to do. You never get bored. You might at the end, but in the beginning, it really is a lot of fun, really satisfying. And the last thing I want to talk about as far as gathering goes is, just like crafting, there's a gear set for every type of gathering. So you can get a fishing set, you can get a logging set, a mining set. I'm talking gloves, hat, everything. And what it does is it gives you increased luck for that gathering profession, so that you have an increased chance of getting legendary materials. And when you are mining a star metal node or an orichalcum node, and you get that indicator that you just got some cinnabar or tolvium, which is high-end, legendary materials, it is super, super satisfying. Now, probably the moment you've all been waiting for, the graphics in New World. The graphics, you're probably sick of hearing me say this, but the graphics are phenomenal. It is a beautiful game. You should see some of the screenshots and some of the backgrounds. I'm sure you already have. This game is just gorgeous. Whoever was in charge of the graphics team, man, you definitely nailed it. The design of the game is great. There are some bad things as far as, not really the graphics, just, the overall design that we'll talk about a little bit later. But as far as the graphics go and the way everything looks, the lighting, the shadows, the textures, the way you can zoom in on your weapon and rotate your camera and see the sunshine just gleaming off of it and changing it as you rotate your camera. I mean, it is phenomenal. I can't overstate enough how much the graphics just blew me away in this game. And another crazy thing is, you could be looking in the distance and see this giant tower that's just, shattering into a million pieces up in the sky, and think to yourself, man, that would be so cool if I could go there and actually visit that place, with my character in game and run all the way over there. You can. Everything in this game, as far as where you can go and what you can look at and what you can actually go up and touch, is real. You can, if you see something in the distance, it's really there. It might take a hell of a long time to get there, but you can. It is so good. The graphics are phenomenal, top notch, and best graphics I've seen in an MMO RPG, hands down. Another great thing about this game is the housing system, in my opinion. The housing system is really good. It's a lot of fun, but not only does it have like an RP aspect, but it has a functional aspect as well, which I really haven't seen much of that in games that have a housing system. Some of these things include the ability to have more storage in your storage places, in your town. So if you have a house in a certain town where you like to keep all your crafting materials, you can actually craft with the furnishing profession a storage chest, and there's a bunch of different levels of storage chests that give you more storage than the others. So that's really a neat feature, actually having something that's functional and that you can use, a reason to have a house. A couple other things that you can have are trophies, which just enhance different things that you do in the game. Like you can enhance your crafting, you can enhance certain types of combat, you can enhance your luck when finding legendary materials and rare materials in the game by having luck trophies, and you can actually display them in your house, and I think it's really cool. You can even use your house as an extra like teleport or recall spot if you run out of Azoth, and we'll get into some of that stuff later. But the housing is fun, it looks really cool, there's a lot of different stuff to create and decorate your house with, and they actually serve a purpose, it's actually functional. So I want to talk about crafting in New World. Crafting is definitely one of the best parts about this game. It is absolutely amazing. It's the best crafting I've seen in an MMO in a long time. Another game that comes close would be Final Fantasy XIV, also amazing crafting. The thing that I love about crafting in this game is the sheer amount of recipes, different things you can craft, and the fact that you actually need certain gear sets or armor sets to be efficient at crafting and to be able to craft the amazing weapons, items, and end game stuff that can be crafted in this game. For example, if you want to craft armor, you have to have an armoring set. You've got to find the armoring earring, you've got to find the armoring chest, legs, helmet, everything. And once you have this full set, you can now craft some amazing things. And it just gives the game and the crafting system a whole new dynamic, and so much that you can do and have to do in order to be an efficient and good quality crafter. And crafting in this game is super satisfying as well. There's so many different things to craft in the game, from furniture, weapons, armor, tools. You can even craft tools in this game that have their own stats and different things like that. It is really a lot of fun. And the other thing I like about the crafting in this game is the fact that anybody can do it. If you start out crafting as a new player and slowly ease your way into it, just as you level, as you progress through the game, you can stay on track, you don't get lost, it's not overwhelming, it's not daunting. If you take a first glance at it when you're a new character, it can be. It definitely can be. But overall, the crafting in this game is really good, really well laid out, and there's just so many different things you can do and so many different approaches you can take to the crafting in this game. And the number one thing I love about the crafting in this game is that you can craft only and not kill a single monster and solely level up through 1 through 60 the whole time by crafting. It's really cool. So as far as the payment system for this game, it is a pay once, play forever type of thing, which is really nice. You don't have to have a subscription. You don't have to so far pay for any new content that's coming out. Now they may change that in the future and add different expansions, but the way they're getting their money is obviously the initial purchase of the game and the cash shop that is, as of right now, not pay to win. So as far as the payment model being pay once, play forever is a really good idea, good approach. Will that change in the future? I don't know. Time will tell. But so far, that's the model, and it's a model I could definitely stand by. New World PvE. This is going to be a pretty long one. The PvE in New World, when I first started playing, was not that much fun. It wasn't exciting. It felt boring. It felt the same as any other game that I've played. And I actually stopped playing New World because the PvE was lacking so much, in the early levels. Actually, this was in the beta. When launch came, after watching so many videos and checking out other people's streams and different things that they were doing with the PvE stuff, I was like, man, maybe I missed out on a lot of stuff, because I never went into a dungeon, an expedition. I never went into an invasion. I just based the PvE experience solely on leveling in the quest, which is not where this game shines at all. But let me tell you my experience after 1,600 hours in this game. The PvE is really good. It is a lot of fun. It is really solid. The expeditions are a hell of a lot of fun. that's what I did a majority of my time. I spent, just doing dungeons and expeditions to level up 0 through 60. But they were so much fun. The expeditions were, designed very well. They were unique looking. Every dungeon looked different than the other. There's lasers, there's puzzles. It is so much fun. It really is. I know some of you are probably saying, oh, he's just trying to hype everybody up. No, it really was a lot of fun. If you quit playing New World in the beginning because the PvE elements were kind of lacking, get back in there and give it a shot. It ends up getting so much better. The quests even get better. There's different quests that you can do to get legendary items and different things like that. And, just the expeditions alone, a lot of fun. The invasions are like a giant it's an instance PvE battle. All the players against hordes and hordes of corrupted enemies, and you have to defend the fort. If you don't defend it, the town gets downgraded, all kinds of different things happen. It's a really cool dynamic, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. I love invasions. And of course, you get to see your ranking in the invasions, and that's pretty cool too. You can see your top healers, top DPS, etc., etc. So the PvE overall, after actually spending this much time in the game, is a lot of fun. And I really like that it's not just solely a PvP game or solely a PvE game. There's a mix to appeal for everybody. If you're a PvP guy, there's plenty. If you're a PvE guy, there's plenty. And I like the direction they're going with that. So I want to talk about the PvP in New World. The PvP is another place where I think they did a really good job. That does have some issues, but we'll cover that stuff in the bad section. For the good, the wars are a lot of fun. The wars are really cool, really immersive. The sound, the gunshots going off, the cannons going off. I mean, it's an experience that you just have to see for yourself. So when you do get the chance to jump in a war, it is a lot of fun. The other PvP, like the open world PvP, it's a lot of fun too. If you want, you could turn your PvP flag on, go run around, do some stuff, and if you see somebody, you can run them down and kill them if they're flagged too, and it is some fun. And one of the things that they did to make it even better is they actually made it so that if you have PvP turned on and you're just running around in the open world, you get extra luck for gathering, luck for finding rare objects, so you actually have a reason to flag up for PvP, if not just to kill other players, there's some other added benefits as well. So I think it's a lot of fun. And the combat with the PvP is really, really good too. Again, it does have a couple issues, but overall, the PvP in this game is great. I really, really enjoy it. They're also going to be adding a arena type PvP where, you can queue up and maybe a 1v1, 2v2, or 3v3, which is also a really good idea, and hopefully that comes out pretty soon. Another big thing that I like to, look at in games, and something that I really want to start adding to all my reviews, is the sound. The sound is absolutely stunning in this game. I have never heard, maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, maybe, it had great sound too, but this game's sound is just so crisp, so detailed. When you're mining something and your pick hits the node, you can hear it echo across the valley. You can hear gunshots in the distance where you actually feel like there's somebody out there shooting at me. You can hear trees falling. You can hear trees being cut down. You can hear all kinds of stuff. Even the abilities in this game sound absolutely amazing. I'm actually going to play a quick clip for you guys of some of the different abilities that just blew me away when I used them, and some of those instances I'm talking about where you're mining and it's echoing. Just check this out, see for yourself. The sound in this game is amazing. Now, as far as updates, new content, new expansions, I haven't really seen any expansions yet, but as far as updates to fix bugs, updates to add new stuff in the game, updates to fix things and new content rather. There's quite a bit of it. They have made this game so much better since the launch. So many improvements, so many new ideas and ways to approach dungeons, expeditions. There's plenty of updates, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And another really cool thing is they actually do, like, every time there's going to be a big update, they will get together in like a kind of a roundtable discussion and explain what things are going to be coming out, what things they're looking for, what things they're trying to improve, and what we can expect in the next coming updates. And I think that's really a great idea, good transparency, and good way to keep your players informed of the upcoming changes in the direction the game's going. Now, the last good thing, it's a really small one, you're gonna probably laugh, but the fact that you could climb in this game, you can traverse obstacles, you can climb up mountains, you can jump over logs. Is that a huge thing? No, but it's definitely something that adds a new dynamic. You're not just stuck on this flat, playing ground. You actually can climb up stuff and climb up mountains and traverse the terrain and, do all that stuff. You can jump off things. You can't swim, and we won't even talk about that one. You guys get a free pass on the swimming. But no, you can climb in this game. I think that's really cool. I wish a lot of other games would incorporate stuff like that too. All right, now it's time to get into the nitty gritty. Here are the bad things about New World. So the first one I want to talk about is bugs and stability. This game has a lot of bugs, and it doesn't seem like the list is getting any shorter. Whenever they introduce a positive change or a fix to a bug, it seems to create 2 other bugs that didn't exist before. So kind of a 1 step forward, 2 steps back type of situation. Now, the good thing is they are actually working on stuff and actively listening to the player feedback, but it is what it is. There's a lot of bugs in this game. This game is broken. I personally don't think they're game-breaking bugs, maybe a couple, but it's obviously, I'm still here. The players that are playing are still here. So it's obviously not enough bugs to keep us from playing because the game is that good. It's so much fun that even with all these bugs and all these issues that keep popping up, we're still playing this game. But like I said, it is what it is. There's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of broken things, and the list is not getting any smaller. So I really hope they start getting this, under control and taking care of it. Now we're going to talk about bots, because bots are prevalent. Bots are a problem. Bots are driving people away. This game has a lot of bots. Now I know pretty much all MMOs where there's some sort of an economy are going to have bots, and it's just one of those things that's inevitable. It's going to be there. But this game, they're starting to get pretty bad. On my server, I haven't seen a lot of them, but any other server, they're everywhere. They're not slowing down. They're popping up all over the place, and it's a mess. So they really need to get that under control. If they did, it would be huge. I don't know what they can do to fix them. I know they're trying and actively working on fixing them, which is huge, but they're still there. They're still there, Amazon, and it's causing a lot of grief for a lot of people. Another thing the game is really lacking in is the fishing profession. The fishing is just boring. If you want a good fishing experience, Red Dead Redemption 2 is amazing. It is fun, it's engaging, it's satisfying when you catch fish. You can have fishing contests. It's really a lot of fun. This game's fishing is lacking in so many ways. It's lacking in value, it's lacking in fun and engaging mechanics. It's just probably hands down, probably one of the worst fishing in a game that I've seen, and it gets no attention. People are complaining about it. It gets no attention. They're not doing anything about it. They don't even have it on their radar as something to improve. So the fishing is terrible. Now, this is something that's been mentioned before, and I'll mention it again. There's no option to have any group size bigger than 5 people. So if you want to get a company together and go do an elite run or go do some PvP, you've got to have like 10 separate 5-man groups. You can't stick together. It's hard to heal people outside of your group. So that's something that they're big time lacking in this game. The ability to have a raid group, at least a 10 or 15-man group. Come on, Amazon, give us some bigger groups, but that is a downside for sure. So with all the positive things I was mentioning about war, invasions, PvP, lag and desync, these are pretty big issues in the game. You know, you go into a war, you're excited, you're trying to take a territory, or even crazier, you're trying to defend a territory, and all of a sudden you just have lag city and desync issues. I hope they get this under control. It's definitely driving a lot of people away, but it is a big problem in this game, and I hope they can fix it because the game has so much potential. So another big problem in the game is the lack of armor presets or armor organization. When you are out, if you're a gatherer or whatever, you know, you're out mining and then you come across a bunch of fiber that you want to gather, but you know, you have a whole armor set on you, you have a whole gathering set on you, and you have to stop what you're doing. You have to take off all your gear, you know, your normal gear, and then put on one by one and try to find out of all these different pieces of armor that is stored in your inventory, because you have to carry everything with you. It takes up so much space, it takes up so much time, and there's no way to quickly just put on all your harvesting gear or all your mining gear or your PvP set really quick because you're about to fight, or your PvE set because you're about to do a dungeon. You know, there's a couple different problems. You know, it takes up too much storage space, it's hard to find and sort through all this stuff, and there's no easy way to just equip everything. Now, something this game needs that it is definitely lacking is a group finder. Some people disagree. They think it would be bad for the game, bad for immersion. I don't think so. I think group finders are a great way to get into dungeons without having to spam LFG or spam looking for healer, looking for tank. Give us a group finder. It would be such a huge, you know, quality of life improvement. But they don't have one yet. Hopefully it's coming down the pipeline, but as of now, nothing. And one more thing I want to talk about is no transmog ability. So a lot of games out there have this thing where, you know, if you've picked up this piece of armor or this piece of gear or this weapon, you can use that visual for that weapon and apply it to anything that you're wearing currently. So you can kind of create these, you know, transmog things where you can save all these stored, you know, skins and stuff that you find. Like, I have a really cool helmet that I just found. It's the Thorpe helmet. Didn't even know it existed, but it's only gear score 4 something. I can't use it. You know, it would make no sense for me to use it, but it looks so cool, and all I'm stuck with are the skins that they give us. I think a transmog ability would be super cool. We'd get to showcase, you know, different looking gear and styles, and it would just open up a lot of uniqueness to the game and unique looks to different people instead of everybody running around with the same skins, the same gear. So definitely something to think about. I wish they had it, but they don't. Now I want to talk about skills. So there are, you know, different classes and there's different abilities you can use. There's different traits, different perks, but there's just not enough. We need more skills. We can only have 3 active abilities at one time. Yes, you get 6 total because you can have 2 different weapons, but the weapon swapping doesn't work half the time. It's a mess, and there's just not enough skills to choose from. So the next thing I want to talk about is storage issues. This game doesn't really have a storage issue as far as the amount of stuff we can store. I mean, every settlement has a huge storage that you could put stuff in, but storage altogether, all-encompassing, is a problem. You have to run across the entire map. You have to spend so much of your Azoth, which is a resource used to teleport across the world, just to organize your inventory, your different storages. The only way you're able to transfer different items from storage to storage is if you are in the faction that owns that territory. That is the only way you can transfer stuff over from a storage over in part A over to part B where you do all your crafting. And that's a big problem because the amount of gold it costs to transfer items makes it virtually useless. You will go bankrupt trying to transfer a stack of orichalcum from, you know, Shattered Mountains to where you're making all your armor, and it is just terrible. It is terrible. And you know, if you're in one of those factions that doesn't have a lot of territory, you're screwed. There's no quick, easy way to flip these different territories. It is a big problem, and it's driving people crazy, including myself. Yes, you can increase your storage by doing furnishing and having a house, but it makes no difference when all your stuff is just scattered around the entire damn map and you don't have access to any of it unless you want to either spend hundreds of gold on Azoth to be able to travel over there and organize your stuff, or just spend mindless hours and hours of running across this map just to get a stack of orichalcum from your damn storage. It's a big problem. So I want to talk about questing in New World. And this is not me picking on New World. It suffers from the same thing all other MMOs, you know, I've played, except for a handful. have got it right. The questing in this game is no different. It's repetitive, it's not really that much fun. They'll send you on a mission where you have to go get something and then just send you across the entire map to go turn it in. It makes no sense. They don't try to group things together. It's hard to quest with your friends. That's another big thing. You know, you and your friend can start on the same server, but you start out in different places, and the quests that you get just aren't in line with each other. The PvP quests, you can't get the same ones. There's a lot of improvement needed with the quest for sure. Now this isn't a huge thing, but the weapon models are just they look cool, but there's just not a big variety. All the life staffs look the same, all the fire staffs look the same. There's maybe like 3 or 4 different models that they use with different slight color variations, but overall the armor looks great. The armor looks amazing. The gear looks amazing, but as far as the weapons, we definitely need more. There is just not enough to really be able to showcase your cool weapons that you find. They all look the same. Now I know I always complain about this and a lack of it, but world bosses, there's no world bosses. This game would be perfect to have world bosses. People can join together, group up to take down these big enemies, and they just don't have any. There is a dynamic event with the meteors, but they need more. The fact that, you know, you can't just be questing or exploring and then all of a sudden something comes down out of the sky or something crawls up out of the ground and it's a big giant monster and there's people in the area. They don't have that, and I don't know why. They have the ability, they have the resources. Give us world bosses. I know I state this in all my reviews, but I'm telling you, Bless Unleashed, that was such a cool, fun experience, and you just don't see it in other games except Rift. And they do have their, you know, portals and corruption events in this game, which is okay, but it's stale. Give us some world bosses. Give us some dynamic events where everybody's forced to just band together and defeat these guys in the open world. Some exploration, but they don't have it. Big gripe for me. They lose points for that. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the final conclusion. The graphics, I'm going to give a 10. The graphics are amazing. I haven't seen graphics like this in this type of game before. It is just stunning. It's beautiful. The landscapes, the monuments, the weapons, the gear, the design, absolutely amazing. Sound, I'm going to give the sound a 10 as well. The sound is just, you have to hear it for yourself. I tried to capture some of it in the video, but the sound is just fantastic. For the combat, I'm going to give it a solid 8. The combat's fun. There are some problems. It's not a 9, it's not a 10. It's going to be an 8 for me. There are some problems, but if they can work them out, that can change. Stability. The stability, I'm going to give a 5. Although the game seems and looks polished, and they did a really good job with a lot of the stuff, there's just too many bugs, too many issues, too many steps backward to justify giving it anything higher. Can this be changed? Absolutely. The UI, I'm going to give a 7. The UI is pretty good. There's some things missing, there's some things I don't like about it, but as far as just the overall and other games I'm comparing to, I'm going to give it a 7. Could be better, could be a lot worse. And the fun factor. Fun factor is going to be an 8 for me. I think this game is a lot of fun. I'm still playing after 2 months. I'm still playing after 4 months. Bottom line, I'm not going to keep playing a game that's not fun for this long. And finally, the cash shop. The cash shop is really good. It's not bad at all. I really enjoy it. I buy stuff from it all the time, and it doesn't take anything away from the game, doesn't give anybody an advantage over anybody else, so I'm going to give Cash Shop a 9 for this game. And with all that being said, the game, after looking at all these different categories, is going to be an 8.1. So what does that mean? That means go out and get this game. If you haven't played it, try it. If you left, come back. There's a lot of good things that have changed. There's a lot of things that are currently in the works. I know a ton of people have quit playing this game, and it's really sad to see them go. I mean, they're working on making the game better. They're working on creating a positive player experience for all of us. And if you want my honest opinion, I think this game has huge potential. If they could just get these bugs, you know, some little things here and there, this game could be amazing. And I think it will. Once they fix all these different issues with the game, this is going to be the best game in 2021, maybe even 2022. So if you haven't tried it, go try it. That's all I've got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video.